are listening to the Persistence Mastery Podcast to give your communication skills the clarity edge with your host, Paul Leon.
Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about where to start when forming presentation/training content. Now, if you are a seasoned trainer or you're new to public speaking in any way, shape, or form, this episode is for you. So a lot of the time, sales enablement trainers, communication skills, we kind of get these very ambiguous projects at time about build me this presentation, build me this training piece. And the biggest question I get a lot is sometimes, Paul, I get these really ambiguous projects and I don't even know where to start. So here's my recommendation to you that has served me well in formulating some pretty strong quality content. Number one is always start with your call to actions first. So if you were to open up Microsoft PowerPoint and you were saying, okay, I want to build a presentation on X or a training piece on X, go to the end bottom part of that Microsoft PowerPoint doc and start with your call to actions first. And here's why this is important. Any project management 101 course is always going to say start with the end and work backwards. Well, it's the exact same thing here when it comes to building quality training, presentation content with clear communication. Because when you start with your call to actions and you get right to the point and heart of what your presentation is, then it's easier to work backwards towards your middle and beginning to really make everything flow more smoother. So, for example, let's say you're doing a training piece on training new salespeople in how to take more ownership of their contacting. We'll just go with that type of subject matter. Well, your call to action might be use the following script so you can book better appointments with less cancellations. That just might be a very specific call to action. But then you have to define backwards. Okay, how do I get them from here to there? I remember that one of the things I learned was you never want to write or craft training and then have the word and then. You want to have then. So that's kind of an ambiguous statement. So let me clear this up. Let's say you're watching a TV show. This is probably the easiest way to kind of get there. Most good TV writing shows or even joke writers will always structure their transitions to say, okay, well, when this happens in scene one, then this happens, and then this happens, and this happens. And the reason they get rid of the word and when forming that content is because anytime there's a break in thought, they lose viewers, they lose engagement. So I want you to kind of think of that analogy as you form this content. Okay, but we're working backwards, as I said at the beginning. So that call to action was helping salespeople use this script to craft better appointments with less cancellations. So then you have to go back to say, okay, well, in order to get them there, then they need the script. Boom. In order to get them to the script, then they need X before. Then they need X before that. Until you find yourself at the very beginning with your opening. And when you really start to eliminate that and then statement in your training, your exercises, then what happens is you have, number one, better flow. Number two, more engaged audiences. And then number three, overall, what you're going to have is some really impactful content that leads to it flows. So when you get those scores, you're trying to ask for that 1 out of 5 in learning effectiveness, you should be able to score above a 4 because the call to action is so clear and so impactful and everything flowed from then this happened, then this happened, then that happened, then this training happened, then this exercise breakout. So as you're forming this content, number one, start with the end results, your call to actions. And then as you're working backwards, ask yourself, just in the back of your mind or as you're crafting things on a whiteboard, whatever tool you use, am I creating an and then this happens, or this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens, to have easier, smoother transitions to create a more impactful, powerful presentation.
Thank you for listening to the Persistence Mastery Podcast. Subscribe to where you listen to podcasts. And if you want to hire Paul to train or speak for your team, visit persistencemastery.com and fill out the request training form.